Okay, good morning. We'll begin today's meeting with the reciting of the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Nathan.
Morning. I don't think anyone's surprised that there's only one person on the agenda and I'm that person. Couple of updates on the courthouse project. First, progress generally, demolition construction work has continued, and we have continued to make discover a few fun new treasures behind various storage fixtures. We saw some campaign information. We found a how to use the ballot machine guide from sometime in the late 50s or 60s, an event for Congressman Halleck, where I think the Nixons were going to be there, all sorts of wild things. Continue making picture uploads to the county's Facebook page on Fridays to keep the public apprised of our progress. At your first July meeting, I reported that after a lot of discussion on the matter, we had concluded that the only realistically could save about half of the retaining wall for possible later reinstallation. Since then, a local landowning couple has graciously volunteered a part of one of their farm properties that is fairly conveniently accessed from town as a storage area, so that we're able to hold on to the entire wall for now. At this stage, we're still not able to guarantee how much of the wall the budget will permit us to reinstall, but we at least are in the position where we won't get 8 months down the road, find out we could afford complete reinstallation and have disposed of more than we should have. Delta 3 has continued with excavation work in support of the removal of the retaining wall by the masons and in preparation for the installation of underground site utilities and waterproofing the foundation. They did miss a few days last week on account of the rain, as did the masons, who we aren't ready to have do interior work yet. Thanks to coordination efforts of Frame Mortuary, Akron Concrete Products visited the site last Monday to remove 3 buried time capsules and take temporary custody of them until we can rebury them toward the end of the project. I will be coordinating with the highway department to load up most of the items stored in their lobby that haven't been set aside for restoration to deliver them to Olson Auctions. A few items that are too valuable to justify listing for auction. A couple have maybe too much sentimental value for the public to take out there, as opposed to doing a simpler, smaller, more straightforward direct sale. Everything else will be sold by Olson online, clearing up some space for Gary to get his lobby back and for us to store some of the wood trim, etc., that needs to be out of the building until it is restored and reinstalled. I have not received any change order requests yet, but I do expect to be presenting one in the near future. I will cover a couple of fairly small tasks that had to be completed as part of standard demolition work, but were not originally scoped because we didn't know that the conditions that were addressed existed. That includes some additional layers of subflooring that we didn't know were present, things like that. It will likely cover the plan revisions that will call for full removal and replacement of the slab. Fortunately, as I've previously explained, we expect to make some changes to the HVAC plan that will largely, if not fully, offset these costs. Ton and Blank preliminarily explored options for solutions short of full removal, but found there would not be enough cost savings to justify a lower quality final product. The one aspect of either the first CO or a second one that will likely come with some measurable cost will involve wastewater discharge into the town's sewer system, including to as-built plans used by our civil engineer and architects. There should be a pipe running out of the center of the rear of the basement that we would be using for this purpose. At some point, though, it seems the pipe was removed and nobody thought to update the drawings on file, so some adjustments will need to be made. You may recall we had discovered some other surprises early in the Justice Center project under Meridian Street as well. We hope that it will be a simple matter of some additional pipe and fittings and some elevation changes, but we can't guarantee that it won't require the installation of a conflict structure to make sure that we don't have pipes running into each other. Any questions on project progress thus far?
When does that have to be determined?
They're working on that right now. I don't know when they will have a clear enough idea of exactly what we're facing to report back to me so I can bring it to the commissioners, but I do know that our architects are making another site visit tomorrow, so I'm hoping we're able to make some progress while we're all in person and not just exchanging emails. Finances, this is basically regurgitation on what I reported to the council last week, but after you accepted the building corporation's resolution allowing me to do so, I submitted disbursement request number 2 to the First National Bank of Monterey. It included $94,888 in invoices and a reimbursement to the county's Lit Economic Development Fund of a little more than $1.351 million. Disbursement request number 1, which Barnes and Thornburg had submitted directly, totaled $224,000, covered legal counsel and financial advisors. After consulting with First National, I concluded that unless and except when a specific invoice requires a quicker turnaround, I'll be submitting disbursement requests on a monthly basis. Once we've expended these funds and switched to the county-held funds, I'll be able to revert to the normal 2 or 3 week claims approval schedule. We have a current balance of $2,243,702.12 in the tranche of funds held by the bank as our trustee and $9.38 million in the county-held fund. Per the previous conversation that you all, as the Board of Finance, had with the treasurer, she will be investing at least a large portion, if not the entirety of the county's share of the bond proceeds. And I know that she has been looking at the options as far as terms and rates. Based on our financial consultant's recommendations and Ton and Blank's draw schedule, I advised her that probably about $4.3 million could safely deposited in a shorter term, maybe 3-month CD, another $5 million available for a 6-7 month deposit. First National looked into more flexible, shorter term options for generating a little bit of interest on the funds they are holding. The option recommended by Baker Tilly is going to be unrealistic for First National, but they're going to be paying an interest rate that is competitive enough relative to those options that the extra fees and headaches aren't really going to justify the minimal amount of extra interest revenue we would generate over 2 or 3 months tops. Any questions on the finances? Okay, last thing, Vietnam War Memorial. As you know, there are a couple of veteran memorials on the northwest side of the courthouse lawn near the flagpole. The VFW Auxiliary is seeking permission to install a new monument in this area to honor Vietnam War veterans. They're not asking the county to cover any of the cost unless possibly some associated with pouring concrete footers. If the timing lines up, if we're already in a position where we're having people pouring concrete when they would do that, which I don't think actually is very likely. But they're not asking for any financial assistance as they intend to raise the funds. I've spoken with Luminat and Ton and Blank, and neither has any concerns or objections, other than that Luminat has offered some alternative ideas for the exact placement of the monument so that if there is ever a future monument for Iraq, the global war on terror, etc., they're able to do it in a more orderly and symmetrical fashion and kind of enclose the space in a way that feels appropriate to the purpose. But right now they're just asking for a green light to go ahead with fundraising for that project with the expectation they'll be able to install it once they have raised those funds.
Need a motion to allow this to take place.
So yes, I would make a motion to allow the Vietnam War.
Any other discussion? As Nathan was saying, it's not necessarily just the veterans, or it could be.
So in the future, they may ask the county to put more in it, but this one will be focused on Vietnam.
Right. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, the other thing I have for you is county financial support for the Willow Creek Villas housing development. Earlier this year, you and the council both generically agreed to support the proposed Willow Creek Villas housing project as might be appropriate once we saw if they received low-income housing tax credit funding from the state. Had a few follow-up conversations with Sullivan Development and with President Mellon. Nothing set in stone at that time. 2 weeks ago, Sullivan Development's Travis Venzel and I met with President Mellon, Council Vice President Teedy, and Councilor Hazimi to discuss this support. Last week, the council approved advertising a $350,000 additional appropriation for the Lit Economic Development Fund, specifically in the C.D.C's budget, for funds to be used as a low-interest loan to Willow Creek Villas LLC as local match support for this housing development, which is proposed for East Galbraith Drive and supported by tax credits through the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority. The project, as submitted and approved, proposes to build 11 units with an income threshold at 30% of the area median income with a rent of $447 per month plus utilities. 6 units with the threshold at 50% AMI with a rent of $812 per month plus utilities. And 17 units with a threshold at 60% of AMI with a rent of $994 per month plus utilities. I am asking the commissioners to authorize legal counsel to begin drafting the necessary loan documents with the hope that the council will approve the additional at its August meeting and the board would be able to execute the documents during its second August session. The requested terms for the loan are $350,000 at 2% interest with a cash flow contingent 15-year repayment schedule. And I think that 15-year schedule is based on the minimum amount of time the state requires it to remain a low-income housing establishment with those thresholds in place. And after the 15-year period, it could go market rate, it could be renewed for low income, but for now they have to do it a minimum of 15 years. I think so. And Sullivan Development has some templates from projects that they've done specifically through this state program that I'll be able to get to you to make sure that we're all on the same page.
So is that 15-year amortization be paid back completely in 15 years?
Yes.
So if you already stated this on
Sure.
who actually owns this house?
Sullivan Development, well, Willow Creek Villas LLC will be the owner. They are in the process of purchasing it from the Galbraith family right now.
So they will be the ones that will make payments on this loan.
Yes.
So they will be the ones that receive the rent payments and that type of thing.
Yes.
They'll collect the rent, they'll make the payment to the daughters over something on the 350, right?
That's what I assume.
Yep.
And the loan's coming from the 1112 fund.
Yes.
Which that's where the payments will then be.
Yes.
So I've got a question.
Sure.
350,000, is that the total amount, or how much per unit?
So it's 34 units. So just a little more than 10,000 per unit is what it comes out to.
Okay,
So that's not the cost.
Yeah, that is about
yeah,
not even that. So a larger percentage of their local match is coming through a tax abatement from the town. I think some fee discounts, that sort of thing. This is maybe total 3% of the total project cost,
okay.
give or take 3 to 5%.
I had another question as far as how was it determined how many units of each?
I don't know for certain, but I think that was either based on their market study, state guidelines, or a little bit of both.
Okay,
I know that in addition to the sort of county-wide housing study we've done, they needed to do some market study work specifically regarding the actual demand for this type of housing at this price point before the state would agree to support it. As I think I previously reported, they actually were not one of the top 2 awards, but the top 2 were both in the same town, and the state's market study showed that one town couldn't absorb 2 projects, and so they did see that the market study for Pulaski County could absorb this project, and that's how we ended up with it.
That's Sullivan's out in Indianapolis, right?
Carmel, but yes.
And that's, Adam, or not Adam, Kevin, Susan, and son.
You were, yep,
And the whole idea, the reason they're eligible for money from county and
Correct.
aspect of it.
Correct.
And this amount is just a small portion of what's in your account.
It is about 24% of what was just reimbursed.
Like, yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for the county, for the town. Nathan said it was a competitive type grant. So we would need, I guess, a motion for the council to move forward with this project.
Well, for now, just for Kevin to
Okay,
do the documents so I can present them to you in August.
okay. I just made that motion for us to move forward with Kevin doing his work and council to follow.
Yeah, well, I'd second that.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Unless you have any questions, that's all I have for you.
Not related to these, but what's our situation on the roof? Roofs that were leaks or?
That's on my list for today. I pulled in this morning and thought about whether or not Highway had any, so when I check in with John today, I'm gonna find that out.
Anything, Gary, for roof leaks or anything here? No?
It looks as tight as it ever has.
Anything else for Nathan? The other business, we have to approve and sign the claims, payroll 114.
Okay, I have reviewed the claims and reviewed payroll 14, and I make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Minutes from our July 1st regular session.
Okay, I've reviewed those minutes, and I make a motion to approve as written.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
As you know, our health insurance policy begins on August 1st. We have met with Noah Adams, who is the EPIC representative, and met a couple times through the spring, and have an rate increase of 11.73%, which again, we're not used to. We've been flatlining a couple years, but the average rate increase we were told was 15%, so still under the average increase. The PPO part of this was at 6.46%. With that, these are last year's figures, but I think there's only 13 people that are enrolled in that program. And the health savings account side, 12.87%. You have 78 people or families or whatever enroll in that side. So that's where it came up to the average of 11.73. The vision stayed the same. We did have a dental rate increase of 5%. So some of the discussion, one question that is still out there that I asked Noah to present was, what percent of our premiums have been spent out? Because I think back in March, very good shape at about only 48%. So I think that's something that part of the premiums are based on. And having good records the last 2 years, that's probably why we did not have a increase, because we were not spending out our premium money. I think, happy with anything below 80%. Still still like to know that figure, but in the meantime, I guess we presenting to the board, the 11.73 increase health insurance and the 5% increase in dental plan.
So yeah, I would make a motion to go forward with the health insurance.
Any other discussion, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Then just a little discussion on maybe preparing during our remodel for an upgrade in our time clocks. So we would plan on meeting, I guess we have 4 or 5 different companies, supply time clocks. Thought now would be a good time to evaluate current plus our other companies that supply the same service. We'll be setting up a meeting to have a demonstration in service and then make a decision that we can move forward with, get into the remodel. Need be, then we would be putting it in the budget for this coming year. On whether time clocks specifically are in the budget for the remodel, but it's probably something outside that, I would say. Anything else from the board, Kevin?
Nothing for me.
Maybe, Kevin, an update on, I know you've been sending out emails on our sale of property.
200%?
Yes.
Yeah, so we signed a contract with the Olson Auctions. They've got a potential buyer for the large piece of equipment that's in there. It's probably not going to go for much more than scrap price, unfortunately, because it's a product that is made in China. Lots of things are made in China, but for some reason this one would be difficult to get parts for, so the people in the industry are not interested in it. But they're going to try to sell it anyway and see what kind of offers they can get online. They're doing that in August, and they're then going to have a sale at the location of the old building there, 200 South. I don't know the exact address, but 200 South, 501 West. Anyway, they're going to sell that at an auction at the site where it'll be advertised and anybody can bid on it. And right now they've had a number of people interested in buying it, so we expect it will sell in September. And that money will go back. That money is all going back to the revolving loan fund that Nathan helps manage.
Lori, have anything? Community comments? Gary?
Yeah, I just wanted to give you an update. I got 2 quotes on putting metal around the bottom of our whole front side of the building. We had some water issues over on the north side, and we had some water issues right here on this corner. The brick is kind of pulling away from the walls. We might move the brick on the bottom side and just put metal all the way down, but I do have 2 quotes, and I will probably be moving forward with putting metal around the whole bottom side of the building, covering up the wood.
Okay. Thank you. What else?
Gary, when are you planning on doing that project?
Probably within the next 2 months.
Okay.
I got the 2 estimates, and the gentleman, both of them, it's a little bit of time, but within the next 2 months it will get started. It won't take long to do it.
All right.
Guess I have more of a question than a comment. We have the roofing issue out of the recycling on 2 buildings that have not been repaired. So who is in charge of those buildings? Is that the recycling people, those county buildings? Who would be the people that need to go out and get quotes to replace those roofs, as we may use the ARPA funds to do that reconstruction maybe. Anybody know who,
Well,
who should move forward?
they're the one building, Gary keeps stuff in, they got the dogs in it, and I think the recycling keeps stuff in it. So all three of them use it, right, Gary?
Well, basically, the one is, that's still basically, I think, county highways. The big building.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
It's the big building, and that's basically, we just keep our equipment in there that we don't use, you know, like, summer, we'll put on small trucks, in the winter, they come back out, so, and we basically maintain the roof on it,
And that roof is okay?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, it is. I thought that roof was leaking too.
No,
That-
it's more of the shop and their
I
storage.
think it's just the roof over recycling, and maybe there are other roofs in that building to the east, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I thought somebody was complaining about roofing on the dogs.
Okay, well, I'll get with John to see if he can give us some quotes there and something done. Anything else? Motion to adjourn,
motion to adjourn.
meeting adjourned.
Adjourn.